few weeks ago, there were about 15 of us that came together to watch the movie by Rob Bell called Everything is Spiritual. And I've encouraged everyone to watch it and get a better understanding of our philosophy and what our philosophy is based on. And I want to talk today about some of the things that kind of became clearer to me as a result of seeing it. In that movie, Bell confirmed one piece of ancient wisdom that is very true, and that is the scripture that says, Matthew 18 and 20, "For where two or three are gathered in my name, I am there among them." Meaning, when two or three or more like-minded people come together in the name of love, if God is love, then we come together in the name of love, then life meets us there in a powerful way. And I want to talk about that today so that more of us are clear about what we're doing here together. Bell said that all of life is evolving toward greater complexity, depth, and unity. If you were here that night, you know those were his three words. We're evolving towards greater complexity, depth, and unity. And when we come together with other people in communal mind, we go faster and we create better lives with each other. Don't you want to go on a faster journey toward a better life? You know, that's why you're together. I know I do. So remember in the movie, and if you didn't see it, I'll try to explain, he pointed out that creation keeps getting more powerful and complex and unified as you go up the levels of creation, up the levels of evolution. He started talking about subatomic particles coming together to create atoms, and atoms coming together to create molecules, and molecules coming together to create cells, and cells coming together to make living creatures, and living creatures coming together to create a wide variety of structures for lots of different purposes, right? That forward movement continues now, just as much as it did millions of years ago when this whole thing began. We're a part of it, playing our role in the process of evolution. We, as individuals, go through our lives connecting with other people, and animals for that matter too, but we connect with other living creatures to create things together. Now, sometimes we come together and what do we create? Sometimes we create a solution to a problem, to solve something. Sometimes we come together to literally create a physical object. Sometimes we come together just because it feels good to be with other people. And sometimes we simply come together to have a unifying experience. Sounds familiar, right? So to personalize this, just think of what you have come together with other people, other human beings in your life to create. Think about it. Did you create a family? How about a living space, a piece of work? Maybe you regularly come together to create music or other art or just good times and joy, but you're creating something with other people. If you look around this building, you're going to see some things that we've come together as a community to create, like objects. I'll point out the sand sculpture. That was created in a community moment. We all poured sand to it. I think that was in my installation service. We all poured sand together. We have the beads that we hung and strung together for our 10th anniversary. The art in the fellowship hall where we threw paint at the piece of canvas and created that for our building dedication. Those are material objects that we as a group created, but actually we come together just to create community, period. See what I mean? We come together. So again, Bell's words were greater complexity, depth, and unity. And that's what happens when we connect with others. And that awareness gives me clarity about what our community here is all about, our purpose for existing. But what I have learned is that it takes a while to develop ourselves as good connectors. Would you agree? See, I like to imagine that cells had some trial and error as they worked to find other cells that could help them create a lung or whatever they were going to create, the right cells to surround themselves with so they could be their best cell self. It takes a while. And my talk today is about making the decision to join your energy with others because it is the most natural way of being. So often before we find what I'll call a clean community where intentions are clear and love flows, we find ourselves in other groups of people where the energy may feel icky or imbalanced. And many times people just swear off, like, I'm not joining anything else. I'm not going to be a joiner. Maybe it was a family wounding that made you distance yourself, or perhaps you didn't have good experiences in groups, in school settings, or maybe it was old religious experience where you have been kind of learned to hold your distance. I get it. I really, really get it. But coming into relationships with groups of people means that you're going to run up against other people's undeveloped edges, and they're going to run up against yours. So it's important to find a group where everyone understands that perfection isn't possible nor desirable. Because if we're all kind of being all pushed internally to be perfect, we're not being real anyway, right? So in order for our true power to connect with other people's true power, in order for that to be possible, we have to bring our authentic self to the table, all messy and all of that. We have to be safe to learn and grow and try new ways of being if we're going to grow in complexity and depth as we connect in unity with more human beings. But sometimes it takes a while to find your right group to go through life with, or your own right cells to hang out with. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, shared his wisdom on this subject. I don't think it's a quote on the slide. It's not. It's because it's long. This is what Thich Nhat Hanh said. When you're around a group of people, although you want to be yourself, you are consuming their ways. The way we make decisions, our likes and dislikes depend on the collective way of seeing things. You may not see something as beautiful, but if many people around you think it's beautiful, then slowly you may come to accept it as beautiful also, because the individual consciousness is made up of the collective consciousness. That's why selecting the people you're around is very important. It's very important to surround yourself with people who have loving kindness, understanding, and compassion, because day and night we are influenced by the collective consciousness. Thich Nhat Hanh, he's pretty smart, right? And I think what he's saying is really, really true. I certainly wasn't taught this when I was growing up. So I learned through trial and error. I'm going to give you some examples from my own experience while you think about your own journey. I've had some great connection experiences of fabulous creativity, complexity, depth, and unity, and I've had some I wouldn't describe that way at all. Here are some of the ones that were challenging and short-lived, and some that also have been very satisfying. So I was born into a family, actually, that could not be sustained. We were certainly complex. We were really complex. I wouldn't say we were moving into depth and unity, but because mine was a family that splintered into individual relationships, but couldn't hold together in a unified way for me because I have different boundaries with different family members. And quite frankly, it was through spiritual teaching that I learned that love was the most important thing. So if I couldn't love someone up close and love myself, then I had to set that person just a little bit farther away so I could love them over there and I could still love myself, right? So that's what I learned, and it was okay, but that was and is my family, right? So I learned from that. And then I was in a religious community that was not a right fit for me. I was kind of handed fundamentalist Christianity in a kind of a cult-like, controlling, fear-based community, of which my father was one of the leaders. And I couldn't be my authentic self in that group. I was condemned anytime I wasn't following the cookie cutter rules of how to be and not to be, wildly strange rules actually that you had to follow to be embraced. And yeah, that didn't last past my 18th birthday. That was not my place. And social groups were interesting for me. Think about the social groups you've been in. When I was young, Girl Scouts was my thing, man. I had amazing experience of growing and learning with other people, creating a lot of things, all those badges. I had lots of badges because we were all doing the same thing. It was a like-minded community. And then when I kind of outgrew Scouts, I was heavily involved in a national youth organization called Future Homemakers of America, and I was creating lots of group experiences with other people liking and interested in the same things. And I also have had lots of experiences with choral and music groups where creating together was very satisfying. I'm in one right now, right? Together we grow our talents. Yeah, but we also grow as individuals, and we grow as a group as we embrace new members and absorb them into our collective consciousness. And connections grow through every rehearsal and every performance and all of that. And then we go to work. Think about your work experiences. I had work situations that weren't satisfying because I wasn't growing and learning. I wasn't being challenged. But as I learned more about myself, I was able to keep making better and better career choices to join different groups that were working on things that I really enjoyed. And I ended up finally being in an organization where I could do my best creativity and problem solving and all of that. I stuck with it for 25 years. It was a great career. And it was in that place that I grew. In what? Greater complexity, depth, and unity. And then there have been spiritual communities over the past 20 years. So I've found spirituality, and I've been in part of big groups and bigger communities and small groups of practitioners and ministers and learning and growing together. And I valued these experiences so much that I decided to join this community 7 years ago. And we're all here this morning, right? And we're here because we feel like our individual essence is witnessed here and wanted here. People here have a similar desire to have a good, peaceful, loving life that is free of what? Hatred and division and all the isms. We don't want that. We're in a place where that's not present. So today, I want to affirm and make clear the reasons we gather in the Center for Spiritual Living here in Tampa. And as I go through these statements, I want to check in with yourself, similar to our candles this morning. Is this why you gather with this group of people? And maybe you're going to want to add some things to this list, but here are mine. Number one, here we gather to step out of any illusion of loneliness and separation. We grow up being taught some weird things. We're grow up being taught every man for himself. It's a dog eat dog world. You're on your own. No one else really cares. And those kinds of messages kind of leave us feeling isolated and lonely. Please tell me I'm not the only one, right? So those kinds of things are hard to step out of because we don't know how to fit in with the bigger society. Here we learn about that. We let go of the idea of loneliness and separation. Number two, each one of us long to belong. And we create a sense of belonging here. Human beings are born into this tribal mentality. Belonging is an important craving that we all have. You remember a few years ago, we had these t-shirts and bookmarks and all these things that said, be here, be you, belong. Because our sacred intention is to create a community where everyone can belong. Because it's out of our sense of belonging that we can each grow our individual feeling of security and stability. Number three, we gather here to learn and grow our Christ consciousness, or that mindset of oneness and love. Rob Bell talked about that. That's what it means to have Christ consciousness. It means that we can see everyone as one. And I don't separate myself from other people. I understand that we're all in this together. And as I grow my awareness of that, I begin to see life differently, and I begin to see other people differently. Number four, we're here to perfect our own individual role in the whole of the human race body. We're all part of God's body. And if we can imagine ourselves as one cell in the body of the whole human race, then we come here to heal anything that has us at war with any other cell in the body of the human race, right? If we're part of everyone, we've got to be sure that we are not at war with the rest of our own body. So I know that if I can be my best self, my most loving self, my most free and fearless self, I'm healthier. And therefore, the whole human race is a tiny bit more loving, better, free, and fearless. I'm learning to do my part, and I come here to do that. Number 5, we gather to heal our relationship with the past, the present, and the future of our own lives. So let's break that down one at a time. Let's talk about the past. If we are here to heal our relationship with the past, that means we come here to stop ourselves from shrinking into the idea that the past is somewhere behind us, that the best was in the past, that we messed up somehow everything that was perfect back then by something here right now. We're here to embrace what Rob Bell called the dark matter of the past, understanding that when we know better, we do better. And we don't need to feel shame over anything that is behind us. So we spend time here rewriting our stories of the past to set ourselves free. And then there's the present. The present. We're here learning to embrace today as the place of power. Because if I'm fully present in this moment, I have the power to address whatever the situation is at hand. So we're reminded here that the past has no power today. We keep our mind focused on this day. Today, I make the best choices I can make. Today, I allow other human beings to connect with me and exchange energy of all kinds. So we're here to learn to heal our relationship with today and find peace today. And then there's the future and our relationship with it. We're here to remind each other and reassure each other that the future will be an emergence of greater expansion into what? Complexity, depth, and unity. Just as it has always been since the Big Bang that started all of it. From that little point in the corner of the screen, right? We learn that our future is as bright as we want to make it. And when we connect with each other, we get there faster. And last, we gather to take care of each other and allow ourselves to be cared for. Man, we've been living that one, haven't we? You know, since earliest civilization, since the days of tribal nations, human beings have realized that together we are stronger and have a better life. So those are what I believe our 6 big reasons for having a community are, to connect for those purposes. Margaret Mead is a renowned anthropologist, and she said this: never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. So when we gather together and we let God dwell within us, we bond with each other and we find better lives as we grow in complexity and depth and unity. So we express our individual power with integrity and authenticity, knowing that our power is multiplied by the person sitting next to us. We know how to do this. You know, I've never been in a community that has been as challenged as we have been in the past couple of hurricanes, right? It's been inspiring, as Cheryl talked about, to witness how Spirit has shown up when 2 or 3 have gathered together around the purpose of helping each other. Whether we've been pulling up carpet or removing wet belongings or making calls and texts of loving support or supporting each other with open generosity, the love of God has just flowed inside this community, in the space between us. And I'm honored to serve as the leader of this group. I'm honored. I'm honored to witness the developing complexity of our creations together. I'm moved by the depth of experiences we have together. And I'm amazed by the sense of unity that I feel when 2 or more of us are in the same place. It's a beautiful thing, and we've survived it together. 2 weeks from now, when we're having the membership meeting, that's not the only thing that's going on that day. 2 weeks from now, I will be celebrating my 7th anniversary as the minister here. And every first Sunday, thank you, every first Sunday in November, if you've been around here long enough to know, you may remember that on that Sunday, I share a lesson about what I have learned in the past year, spiritually and in this community. And man, this year is going to be a big message. I've learned a lot. But the important part for each of you is to show up that Sunday ready to share with me and with each other what you have learned in the past year. Think back to last October. What have you learned in a year? And as we do every year, you're going to be given a piece of paper and you can write down a sentence or two about what you've learned. And at the bottom, there's a place to ask a question. Now, we used to not have Q&A, so you guys get to ask me lots of questions all the time now. But these are questions that I will answer kind of ad lib as a part of the lesson. So be thinking about a question to pose to me as well. It's one of my favorite Sundays, and I am so hope that you'll be pleased to be a part of it this year. And as we said after service, we'll have some pizza together and come back together for our mid-year membership meeting where the board can share updates and all of that stuff that you all, if you want to have that information, come have pizza and learn with us together. So to summarize my lesson, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, Spirit is there in a powerful way. Let's keep making that happen here at CSL2B. It's our highest intention, our holiest intention. We serve each other with the deepest love. Can we have a prayer of gratitude? So if you drop into prayer with me really quick. I just feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this beautiful community. I'm thankful for the way Spirit shows up in the shared experiences that we have. It shows up as love. It shows up as generosity and order and completeness. And no matter how troubled the water is, we are together. We are always together. And for that, I am so grateful. I know that each one of us are blessed by the experience of being together. And I let it go and let it be. And so it is.